It is a beautiful day on the west coast of Florida, and we're going to get the whaler in the water and try her as a center steer, centrally controlled throttle boat for the first time. All right, we are about to put these throttles back in. I got new stainless steel screws to screw it into the side panel. They might be a hair too big, so we're just going to run a drill bit through and open that up a little bit. Okay, I think that's going to work well. One of the first things I did was disassemble this and clean it and put it back together. But I'm going to open it back up and re-grease, or maybe initially grease everything. I can't remember if I greased it or not. This little flimsy thing I am not impressed with, but it's no big deal, I suppose. Alright, so let's put some marine grease on all of this stuff. Okay, much smoother. It's certainly not the smoothest thing we've ever done, but it is 55 years old. All right, so let's grease the other side. So let's hook the throttle cable up on the port side. We'll hook the transmission or gear cable up on the right side. Pretty easy process. These have been connected to this engine before, so we're just reattaching and making sure they're tight. About there. That should be a little tight. Right there. Something that confused us about reattaching the throttle cables is this guy right here allows you, it fits perfectly between these two steel brackets. And so at one point we were getting this between the brackets, then we were getting this between the brackets, until we realized it's this that should sit between the brackets. And then we actually just pinched these in to tighten them up. Same thing over here, it's a little easier to see it. This kind of pronounced area sits between these. We tighten it up. I mean, it doesn't move at all. So consulting with a friend who's a pretty strong two-stroke mechanic, we're just curious about whether the throttle setting is correct, whether, you know, throttle back is actually going to be throttle back, or whether we need to tweak it a little bit. We go over it a bit. We're looking at sort of where the engine limits the upper and lower thresholds of the throttle. Ultimately, we decide, let's get in the water and see if we can prove that out, and then we can deal with it later. Hear that tap? Oh no, that's hitting here. And we are, okay, the limiter's out, but that's wide open.
Now, here, let
But
go.
we were getting to about here.
Yeah, well that's it wide open without pushing it.
Okay, well.
It's good enough to run for now.
Sure, it's good enough for a test drive.
You're just going to take it out for
I'm just going to go down to Turtle Beach and give her a...
That's a perfect place to take it. You don't want rough seas.
So we did something a little different with the throttle than before. We actually mounted it outside of the side rail, which keeps it out of the way. It lets the cables run in this channel back here, keeps us from hitting anything over here, and seems to space the cables well. I'll probably zip tie these so they're a little tighter. Forward, neutral, reverse. We should be good to go. We're gonna give her a little bath, get her in the water tomorrow. So I wanted to wait for decals until the very end. I wanted to wait until I thought she deserved her decals, and I think she does now. So I looked on Whaler Central to find out exactly where I should be mounting these graphics. We're going to do that now. All right, so let's clean this with a little acetone, make sure we have a good surface. So I got my measurements from Whaler Central. I do want to make sure they look right. So we're going to go 5.5 from there. And we're going to go 3 from there. So we'll put one piece of tape on the top. We'll level the other side. Five and a half. 5.5. Let's measure again. Now, let's just stand back and take a look at it. I think it does look good there. So always break those sides so I can get a clean fold like that. Welcome aboard. So I am so proud of this little boat. We got a few things left to do on her, but she did great. She came up the throttle well. I do think we're going to adjust the throttle controls a little bit, and we'll show that in a future video. One thing we did notice that we're going to work on is we sheared the pin on the prop after hitting just the tiniest bit of sand. So that for those of you who don't know, there is a pin on the prop that is supposed to shear so you don't damage your prop. So it did work as performed. We're not blaming the boat for that. We're blaming the humans that ran over some shallow ground. But sand shouldn't have done that. And so I didn't install that pin. It could be original. It almost certainly was aluminum. We're going to put some stainless steel shear pins in. That should still give us the shearing ability, but maybe not as quick. But we are basically calling this whaler project done. There are some things we're going to do in a future video. We got a few things to finish here. We got some lighting to do. We definitely want to get those cushions made for these seats, but couldn't be more pleased with her, couldn't be more proud of her. What a great little boat.